What's up, gamers? How you doing? In this video, I want to talk about some new Dreamcast games I got recently, and shout outs to several people who sent me these, and I love it because I love the Dreamcast. I want to share some love to the Dreamcast. If you never played a Dreamcast, highly recommend it. I have very fond memories. Before I dive into the games, I want to share a quick story. I have very fond memories growing up. In 1999, early September, I believe it came out on September 9th, so it's over, just recently celebrated a birthday, so to speak. Just celebrated 23 years being in the market in North America. I remember coming home from work. I was working late shift at Taco Bell. I was a part-time manager at Taco Bell in high school, and going to my local Walmart and picking up my Dreamcast at midnight with Sonic and with a whole bunch of other great games, and falling in love with the Dreamcast. And I've loved it ever since, and love the fact that people are still making new games and porting over new games for the Dreamcast. There's a great, strong market for new games for the platform, and I want to share with you 8 new ones that I got recently. I want to shout out my good friend Radical Reggie. He's got a great YouTube channel. If you don't know him, highly recommend you check him out. Super nice dude. He was at Game On Expo, which is an event I run in Phoenix, and he pulled me aside. He's like, John, I know you're a Dreamcast fan. I want to give you some games. So the games that he gave me, which are awesome, that I want to highlight, Rainbow Cotton. Now this game came out in Japan originally in 2000, never ported to North America, right? This is a really fun rail shooter, and it's got really fun anime graphics to it, really great music and soundtrack to it. Controls are great. It's a really fun arcadey feel, and this is part of the Cotton games that they had in Japan. And what's really cool, the Dreamcast was region locked, but because of this game, this is obviously a port. This is what we're going to call bootleg. This kind of matches the feel for the original look as if it were to come out in North America, but it will play on your North American Dreamcast as well. So I highly recommend checking this game out. It's a lot of fun, really fun. One of those games you just drive right into and really enjoy if you like those arcadey games. Other game that hooked me up with is Alien vs. Predator. Wow, this is a really fun port of the original arcade game by Capcom. Came out in 1994. Capcom and Konami in the 90s owned the beat-em-up genre, in my opinion. They really dominated it. This is one of those games that Capcom had produced. It's a beat-em-up based on, obviously, the Alien and Predator franchise. You have 4 different characters. There's 2 humans, 2 aliens you can choose from, basically predators you can choose from, not aliens. Really, really fun. Graphically, you can play up to 4 players through the Dreamcast as well, which I think is really cool because there's obviously 4 control ports. And this is a great port now. It does take a little while to load, but graphically it's fun. Surprisingly, this game never came out or was ported to home consoles when it first came out. Never came out for the Super Nintendo, never came out for the Saturn or any of the platforms that were available when this system was out there, right? So it came out in the mid-90s, so I guess it would be like Genesis never saw a port, Sega Cider never saw a port, which is really, really surprising. But now we have one for the Dreamcast, and it's definitely one to own for the Dreamcast. Great game. A couple of companies I want to shout out real quick too. Video Games New York, they sent me a couple games that I want to highlight, and a lot of these games I'm sharing with you are available on their website. I have an affiliate link real quick. If you see a game you like on the website, use my affiliate link. Part of the proceeds kick back to my show to support my channel, but seriously, don't feel obligated. But if you see one, by all means, pick one up. Also, Wave Games, they are a great company out of the UK. They sent me some games as well. They're still producing and developing games for the Dreamcast. They've done a lot of these, which I'll show you. And Martin actually sent me some games too. So shout out to Martin. Thank you I got your post and your mail, and he sent me some Dreamcast games from Wave Studios as well. So that's a huge appreciation. One I want to share with you is Intrepid Izzy. This game, to my knowledge, is available on Steam as well. It's a platforming game. You start off kind of with a kind of beating up the enemies, and really fun soundtrack, and the soundtrack is included, which is great. So if you like platforming games, kind of fun graphics, this is one to really check out. There's different environments. There's like a snow level and all that good stuff. And this game's hard. I won't lie to you, but it's super fun. It's not like a cheap hard. Definitely check out Intrepid Izzy for Dreamcast. It's definitely worth picking up. Another game. This is available on Video Games New York's website as well as Wave's website as well. I've got both versions. This is the UK version, right? The European release, the blue, and I've also got the North American port. It's pretty much the same. The back is slightly different. Playing both. That's region free, which is cool. Postal, for those who may not be aware, came out in 1997 on the PC. One of the most controversial games at the time. It went to Congress and laws and stuff were passed, and really controversial. Basically, it's an isometric shooter, kind of a top-down. Graphically, it's a little bit dated, to be honest with you, but still a lot of fun, and I can see how it's controversial because you go out and pretty much shoot all the enemies and characters. If it weren't for Postal, in my opinion, you wouldn't see games like GTA today, so definitely influential. Running with Scissors is based in Arizona, which is where I live, which is cool, and they're still around making new Postal games, which is awesome. And I've actually talked to the guys. They've come out to Game On Expo before. Really cool group of guys. There is, on a side note, a new documentary about Postal that is coming out too. It's kind of fascinating. But thank you for that. Postal is a really fun port for the Dreamcast, since it's best original Postal. The next game I want to show you is a game that I think I probably enjoyed the most, to be honest with you, of all these games. This is Xeno Cider. And this is by Wave, and really fun. This is the first 3D style game for the Dreamcast that came out in decades, which is awesome, couple decades, which is really cool. And this game reminded me so much, even though it's a new game, reminded me so much of like buying a new game for the Dreamcast and playing for the first time and really feeling like the game was designed for the Dreamcast. And that's the case here, right? It's a really fun shooter, 3D shooter. It has kind of control-wise, it reminds me a lot of kind of like the Star Wars arcade, believe it or not, when you have like different, you shoulder buttons to move left, right, you have your analog stick to find kind of your targets, there's different upgrades and enemies, and the soundtrack's great, and the cutscenes are awesome. Really, really fun game. I played this for hours and really appreciate them sending me this. This is really one of the games probably definitely recommend. By the way, on the side note, the artwork is amazing. This is different. Video Games New York is getting this as well. It's on pre-order. But it looks like the artwork's a little bit different, so there's slight differences there. Still a great game, though, whether you get it through Video Games New York or through Wave's website. Still a great game. Highly recommend. Rush Rush Rally Reload. Now say that 3 times fast. Rush Rush Rally Reload. Rush Rush Rally Reload. It's a tongue twister, right? So, but this game is a top-down racer. Control-wise, it took me a while, to be honest, to kind of figure out the controls. It kind of reminded me, if you remember the old school game RC Param for the Nintendo, the original NES. That's kind of what this game reminded me of. There's different vehicles you can choose from, different tracks, of course, and the tricky thing is trying to figure out where to turn left or right. The controls aren't bad, but there's a little learning curve, I'll be honest, playing this game, but that's okay. I like a little learning curve. It makes me want to play a bit more and figure it out. And once you do figure out the controls, this game is also a lot of fun. It does also include the original soundtrack, which is really cool. So it's 2 discs included. And I love that. I love the tangible part of it. Very cool. Rush Rush Rally Reloaded. All right, this game next is available on Video Games New York. They do have a limited edition version as well available. This is Hermes or Hermes. I think it's Hermes. This game is fun. It's a one-player, it's a platforming game, and the premise is you're like a French chef and you're looking for a chicken to kill for your cuisine, and you're supposed to catch chicken before the end of the stage, right? So it kind of reminds me of like Mario Brothers with a Nabbit, where you have to like chase the Nabbit and get the item from Mario Brothers. Kind of remind me of that. Graphically, really fun pixel graphics, kind of like Amiga graphics, right? The soundtrack is really fun, decent. The controls, a little wonky, to be honest with you. Jumping took me a little bit getting used to, and kind of landing, because when I would land on a platform, I'd automatically want to kind of go back, just gotta have it. But when you land. There's like no movement, right? So that kind of took me a little getting used to. Fun game nonetheless. I'd say all of the 8 games available on this that I have here, I'll be honest, this is probably my least favorite. Doesn't mean it's a bad game, but just my least favorite. Xeno Cider is probably my favorite. The last game I want to share with you is also available on Video Games New York and Wave. It's Shadow Gangs. This game came out a couple years ago. It's on the Switch. It's on Steam, I believe, and other platforms. But this platform is probably the Dreamcast's best one to play it on because it's old school. And this game is a very old school, reminiscent, like mid-90s, like ninja game. Games like Ninja Gaiden kind of ring a bell to me. I mean, this game really is a throwback to the old school arcadey ninja games, and I love that. So some of the features are HD sprites, background art, right? 15 levels, 3 difficulties, up to 6 parallax scrolling layers. So really the parallax scrolling, really good in this game. Soundtrack's really good, and 480p and VGA support. So if you have VGA, it supports that as well, which is cool. It's an action game, region free, of course. Really fun game. I'm glad I have it for the Dreamcast. Like I said, it really felt right playing this game on Dreamcast because it's got the old school feel. And Shadow Games, yeah, it's really fun. I think they did a great job with this game. So I'll put links below, guys. Thank you to Reggie, Martin, Video Games New York, and Wave for sending me copies of these games to check out. I love playing these old school Dreamcast games. Are there any Dreamcast games that are new or old that you guys recommend? Please leave a comment. Let me know. Leave some suggestions. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing as always. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. And of course, game on.